listening to the Capital PTBO Sports Show, an MNC podcast production, coming to you from the Capital PTBO at 370 George Street. Also simulcast on your TV, Peterborough, Lindsay. Shout out to Dan Malta and the crew over there. And support the show anytime by logging on to patreon.com/thecapitalptbo. On the program today, we'll reflect on the 92 Toronto Blue Jays in advance of a special gathering this weekend, debate the worst arena names ever, and debut a new segment known as the Docs Box. All of that plus your emails and maybe a little fair or foul a little bit later on. But you know, Mark Million, Matt Latour, we need to begin the show by spinning the wheel of no winning. Matty, can we do that?
So we've got two names on it now.
All right.
Two.
We've got Jim Murray.
Yep.
Who, let me switch the camera back here. As you can see, is over Jordan Mercier's left shoulder. He's on the blackboard because he's in the $20 tier.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody that's on the $3 tier, which is the lowest or higher, gets on the list, including Producer Matty, myself, because I wanted to win something.
So now that you got a 50-50 chance at winning nothing here.
Yeah, exactly. It's between me and Jim Murray. So you guys ready to spin
All right,
the wheel?
let's roll it. Let's spin it.
Here we go. Let's see. This is high tension.
Mm. It's our first showdown here.
I don't want to talk about it.
What happened?
Jim Murray has once again won the wheel of win nothing.
Thank you, Jimmy. Congratulations on winning nothing. You're 2-0 to start the season.
You are, and if you want to get your name on the wheel of no winning, patreon.com/thecapitalptbo. Mark, Matt, let's start off with a little lacrosse, shall we?
Yes.
Major Series lacrosse, in fact, and I have to say, looking back the other night, and when we record this, it's a little bit different than when you're watching this, so I'm going to reference Tuesday night's game, 3,500 plus at the Peterborough Memorial Center.
Yep.
It really felt like lacrosse had not that it went away. Like, don't get me wrong, it didn't go away, but it really felt like, okay, everyone's back, everyone's all in, and it was such a cool thing to see. Matt, you'll give us your take in a second, but Mark, great to see that number.
I was actually really pleased to see that number because when game two, I think they had announced it at 3,000. They didn't really touch that number in the previous series, but that was always one of the fears, I think, coming out of COVID. Certainly is. Can we get those numbers back when it's back to serious hockey? Certainly. But lacrosse was always the wagon, right? Like it was always the horse in terms of getting that 3,500, 36, 3,800 to get to 4,000 in the Mann Cup. So it was great last night to support. No surprise, but I mean, the boys put on a show. No?
They put on an outstanding show, and Matt Latour, you were riding shotgun.
Yeah.
Doing some work for Major Series Lacrosse in broadcasting it. And until the other night, now this is the second game, but until the other night, correct me if I'm wrong, you had never actually been to a Peterborough Laker game.
No, so game 2 of this MSL final was the first game I've ever been to.
That's crazy.
Hear me out.
No, I know. There's trying circumstances.
I moved here September 2018, a week after they won the Mann Cup. And I actually moved into an apartment right down the street from the PMC. So I didn't get to go to any games that season because I had moved here late. 2019, they played out of the Evan Rood Center. Didn't really want to go because I'm not going to get tickets when there's only like 700 of them if it's the Lakers, right? And I don't want to watch it from some side room.
That seems like such a long time ago.
No kidding. Cheapers.
2020, there's no season. 2021, there's no season. 2022, just by one circumstance or another, I never made it out to a game in the regular season. And then, we get to help out with the Major Series Lacrosse live stream broadcast. So I'm out there for game 2, which was in itself an eventful one from a behind-the-scenes standpoint. And then last night, obviously, game 4 of the Lakers. We're up 10-1 at one point on Six Nations, which, for a team that finished ahead of you, who you struggled against all year, that's pretty remarkable.
Matt, you've been to a lot of hockey games. Mark, you've been to a lot of hockey games. Unpack the difference between a lacrosse crowd and a hockey crowd.
Oh, my gosh. Like here locally, it's much, much, much different. I think it also has a lot to do with the speed of the play. I think the lacrosse fan that comes here too is a lot more refined in terms of the knowledge of the sport. Like Matty and I were talking before the show started. Every time there's an interaction, I think, it's a penalty. Like guys slash, when I was a box lacrosse ref back in the 90s,
That's a whole episode in itself.
100% it was.
I never knew that.
If I ever get you to the story of Hamilton versus Elora, if we've got any listeners in Elora, don't come and find me.
That sounds like a Patreon exclusive.
Trust me. Okay, so used to be like you cross-check on the arm. Used to be that if you were cradling the ball, like you couldn't freehand check. This was your free hand. You can't push the guy off. You can't push the defender. On every play, guys get high-sticked in the throat 2 minutes. Like in hockey, that's a suspension.
You're gone.
In lacrosse, you're okay.
It happened.
The stick rode up. No, absolutely not. No, it didn't. The guy legit went for the side of my neck. I know, that's why it's 2 minutes. What is a 5?
We saw 5 last night.
Which was a shocker.
Was a guy getting run over after a cross check to the side of the head, the blind side, which in the NHL, that's about 5 games.
Right.
Not 5 minutes.
Major Series Lacrosse.
And even then, it was originally a 2 minute, and then they upgraded it to a 5. But it was,
Right, exactly. So the differences in the crowd, like the Pete's games, I'd hate to say, like from that standpoint, I think it's a little bit more senior crowd, where I think the Lakers is a little bit more raucous, maybe a younger group too that's coming out. But
I don't even think that that's an overgeneralization either. I know I went and sat in the family zone, and that's generally speaking, you get young teams or camps or Fleming students or whatever, and you're hooting and hollering. And there was actually a lady who was complaining that there was too much cheering going on.
Right.
I don't know why it hasn't necessarily translated on the national level the way I thought that maybe it could. And some of that, I mean, we've talked about the MSL shenanigans, and I think there is that at every level almost, where it's just not quite as organized. It's probably not, I don't want to say not as old, because it is very an old sport, but in terms of maybe it's just been different with different kind of, hey, what is going on over there?
That's a $5 fine.
I got Wanda calling me here. I'm taking my name off the wheel and no winning.
Outrageous. But I just kept thinking, like, man, this is, if you could bottle this, and to the people who go and see the Toronto Rock, I'm sure they're ruckus and they're good, but I just always wondered why it was never able to quite break through to that level, because every time I go, I'm like, wow, this is unbelievably fun. Yeah,
I don't know what it is, and maybe it's different at the national level, because maybe it loses something at being at 10 or 12,000 or 14,000 fans. I don't know. Just doesn't correlate. The bigger it goes, like the higher up it goes. That being said, had a customer in today, Jim Murray, actually, our man. He's Jimmy's like, the whole show might as well just be his.
He's Jim, like Cliff Clavin.
He is Cliff, or Norm. Close the door. He told me that they used to run an ad for the Philadelphia Wings, which Peterborough has a deep and rich history of sending these guys played pro, with a lacrosse stick. The players got a lacrosse stick with a severed head in the lacrosse stick. If anybody at home has one of those, I'm looking directly at you. John Grant Sr., I know, Pete Guerin, Jimmy Wasson.
It was a prop head?
Or like it was a print-based ad they ran in a newspaper or a magazine, and it had the player coming up the floor with the head. It was like caricature. Right. I want a photocopy of it. That's got to go in my store. So anybody out there that's got one, we'll pay a fee to find it. Trust me. That's where lacrosse is born from.
How much does a Man Cup trip mean? Not just for the team. We know that it'll be 4 in a row. You're going to go, there's a couple of missed years. It's not their fault. It's going to be 4 in a row, no matter how much you dice it. But how much does it actually mean to the city to have an event like that? I think they did do it in 2018, as you had mentioned.
Yep.
That was here. But it's just a different vibe. And it's just because, let's be honest, unless there's a major new facility, you're not going to get a Memorial Cup anymore. Like, that's not going to come to Peterborough.
No.
Not anytime soon.
Not anytime soon. So, an event like this, on its scale and meaning in the sporting community, it's about as high as you're going to go. What does it mean for the city to be able to host the Man Cup?
I would hope that there's some pride there in getting to the 4 straight. This isn't the first time a Peterborough team's done the 4 straight, but there's very few in history that ever have. So maybe there is an element of you take for granted the fact that you have had some of the world's best play here, that sort of thing. it should be a celebrated event. It should be celebrated more times throughout history. For instance, next month will be the 40-year anniversary of the Mann Cup and Minnow Cup champs of '82. Then you go down and you look through the rosters, and there's so many Canadian Lacrosse League Hall of Fame, Ontario Lacrosse League Hall of Fame, guys that played at the Pro Loop, played the Fields, they played in the World Championships. It should be celebrated. It should be something that, from a sporting community, because national championships, no matter what sport or game it is you play, are not common.
Throw out a cheap plug here. There's some outstanding, if you want to throw your support behind the Peterborough Lakers, some great swag down here at the Capital PTBO.
Yeah, so we thank you very much to Lenny Powers and Clinton Smith from Imprinted Apparel. They were the two that really helped us out with this one. And we're happy to host it. Again, it's a local sports. That's what we want to do. It's when we want to help out. Electric City's been great to us. Lakers have been great to us. And so this is another partner where we can help, and the partial proceeds go back to the club. So we're reinvesting in the club's success by selling their merchandise.
Awesome stuff, Matt. Are you okay over there?
I'm getting blinded.
This is the first time that's ever happened where there's just a beam of light right in your face.
Which is funny because Mark has more merchandise set up behind the table than ever before.
And somehow the sun.
I'm catching a reflection off the laminate flooring. Oh, no, it's off a jersey case up there. It's directing right at me. And
It's worked then. The plan worked. Yeah, that's coming off of that jersey case you mentioned is from a 1987 Mark McGuire jersey that we sell here. Number 25, $400, tax included.
Jeez,
that's good advertising.
Let's switch over to hockey here. I'm not sure if this came across your radar, but we'll put it on it now. The NHL and Players Association are moving forward with plans for a World Cup of Hockey in 2024, targeting a 17-day window in February to hold the tournament. The World Cup of Hockey was last played in 2016 when all games were played in Toronto. That was sort of the fake World Cup with Team Europe and the young All-Stars, and just I don't even have no memories of that.
Yeah.
There were also tournaments in 96 and 94. 96 was a big one.
Yeah.
That's where Canada actually ended up losing to the United States. 2004 was nice, too. Canada ended up picking up that victory. I know Vincent Lecavalier had a big overtime goal against the Czech Republic.
Yes.
This is Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly, who said Wednesday, we're moving full steam ahead, and that means we're continuing to have regular meetings. The 2024 tournament will feature at least 8 national teams, with games being played in both North America and Europe. That's a little bit of a different flavor. Meetings with the NHLPA and Luke Tardif, the president of the International Ice Hockey Federation, to discuss the World Cup, were part of a recent trip to Paris. And he did go on to say that they still want to play one pool in Europe, a preliminary round in Europe as well, and a preliminary round pool in North America, and move the semifinals and final to a different city in North America likely. I think the short list would be universally encompass more traditional hockey markets.
Yeah.
So Toronto, Montreal, Philadelphia, New York.
Yeah.
Sort of those areas.
I think you have to have that.
Yeah.
This isn't the Olympics where we can just try another market.
No.
That doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Daly also said there are discussions about adding 2 nations to the tournament, bringing the total to 10 to create a qualification round to get the teams down to 8. So
wow.
Have some extra games there. And important note here, there's still uncertainty about the potential for Russia to have a team during the World Cup. The NHL continues to suspend all business relationships with Russia since its invasion of the Ukraine in February, and aligns with the mandate from the International Ice Hockey Federation that the nation is suspended from all international competitions until further notice. Why are we excited? The part I can't fathom is that it is now 2022. There has not been a best-on-best hockey tournament since 2014, the Sochi Olympics. And to me,
we're not counting the last World Cup of hockey?
No, because it was...
As I said,
Team Europe, young All-Stars. I don't consider that to be best on best, because some of those players would have been better served playing for their country. So you're getting a more watered-down version. I just can't believe... the 96 World Cup, Matt, you were way too young. You were probably not even born when that took place.
I was born September 96.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have been. That was...
Jeepers, that was huge. Big time.
And that was the rebrand of the Canada Cup, right? That was the first time we're going somewhere different. I think it actually, as much as it pained me that Canada ended up losing that, it might even have been better for the sport that had happened. And that was the first time really that I have memories of best on best. Because before that, the Olympics was amateurs.
Yeah.
I was a little bit too young for the 91 Canada Cup. So I remember that's like my first real taste of international hockey. And
Yeah.
like, wow, this is awesome.
I don't remember anything before the Canada Cup 91 that really caught my attention. Like I didn't watch Canada Cup 87. I don't really remember that.
Mario Mike and the Great Gretzky?
Yeah, that's right. Mario Mike. But what I did like, I liked the premise of the best versus the best. Obviously that was the whole thing. We didn't have the pros going to the Olympics yet. A couple of things though with these sorts of events that have to be, I would hope that have to be considered. The 9th and 10th franchise cannot be Kazakhstan. They can't. It cannot be China. It cannot be Japan. It cannot. Or it can. And there has to be some sort of caveat where these countries are able to adopt or take world junior players or something else because they wouldn't have the representation at the pro level. It's not fun to watch Canada slaughter somebody 15-0. That's not fun. The other part that's not fun, and it's obvious for obvious reasons, I mean, not having Russia in.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. That hurts. But, sport is a privilege, and so I can completely understand that.
And a lot can change between now and then. Let's hope for the world's sake a lot does change.
Sure, no kidding. Absolutely.
But yeah, right away you're sort of like, you're looking at, I'll always say Canada is going to be the favorite, but you're looking at really in my, like, Canada, Sweden, the U.S. and Russia. Those are usually your four, with all due respect to the Finns who like to play in there too. But those are kind of the top four that I always look for in terms of the marquee names and the marquee matchup.
Yeah.
But
the Swedes might even have a fall off in Finland coming on. Like the Finnish goaltending squad for the last 5 or 10 years has been. They got a lot of studs in there.
Like who are the other countries you add? Because you get rid of Team Europe and the North American team.
Yeah.
Team Russia. So that's 3 teams gone of your existing 8.
So who was in it last time?
You had Canada, Czech Republic, Finland, Russia, Sweden, U.S., North America, and Europe.
So Slovakia probably draws in.
Slovakia.
Thomas Tatar?
Yeah, sure.
But then,
in there?
like Germany?
Germany, maybe? Moritz Seider?
Switzerland?
Dustov Olaf Kolzig?
Sure.
Switzerland?
So Team Europe was made up out of Austria, Denmark, France.
Nope.
I don't know who played for France. Is Cristobal Huet hanging out in this tournament?
Yeah.
Germany.
Marcel Gottsch.
Germany, Norway. Germany I can get because you got Leon Draisaitl. Norway, Slovakia, Slovenia, and Switzerland.
So of those, I think the obvious ones, and I guess no Latvia.
But if you want 10 teams without Russia, North America, or Europe, you have to take 5 of those.
Right. Yeah. I think to me, no-brainer would be Germany, Switzerland, and Slovakia.
Yeah, Slovenia, you get Kopitar.
Yeah, I don't know if they wind my watch.
Right. Is that what you're after, though? Are you after star power, or are you after results?
Teams.
Like, aren't you better off having a tournament where there's the 8 or the 6 and it's a superpower? There's no barn burning 12-0 at the going into the third. You don't have those problems.
Here's the problem that they're going to run into is, and this is part of Commissioner or Deputy Commissioner Bill Daley's doing this right now, it's the NHL Global Series. So you're going to see games next year played in different parts of the world that are not traditional hockey because they're realizing just to stay in Eastern, Western Europe, and North America, you're already way behind other sports, most notably, obviously, soccer forever, and the NBA, and some of these other marketing situations. So that's the trouble where, as you said, I don't necessarily want to see a tournament with China and South Korea and all this stuff. But I feel like there's going to be a push on of, we got to grow this over here. Whether or not it's going to work or not, we're going to have regular season games over there now.
Sure.
We got to see if we can factor them into one of these tournaments just to gauge the public interest.
France was Pierre-Edouard Bellemare.
Wow.
If you're wondering.
Isn't there an opportunity, though? Soccer didn't grow by bringing Brazil to Canada. That didn't grow by bringing Brazil to play against the Congo. It grew as a matter of, out of necessity, obviously, inside these countries where, poverty reigned supreme, and they could they put together a wicker ball. That's all you needed was a ball of something that was round. You could kick it.
Kick a ball and maybe have a pair of shoes.
That was it. So bringing it along to the world level takes 100 years to get it to the point where 86 Canada can qualify. This year, Canada will qualify. The women's game, though, has been a rocket for 25 years. In hockey, it's not necessarily the same. You need a lot of things to happen. It's not uncommon to think as to why does Siberia not have a great hockey team? It's cold there 52 weeks a year. Because you need a lot of other things in play in order to create a hockey player.
Well, and I look at Finland, Sweden, obviously great hockey countries. Norway, they're right there.
Sure.
Never did
Great
it.
Britain.
Sure. Tony Hand. Where's Tony Hand when you need him? You know him?
Who's Norway's best player ever? Matt Zuccarello?
Jolison?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. I'd probably...
It's getting pretty thick.
I don't know why. I don't have an answer for you why culturally it's never caught on, and even Denmark you can throw them in.
It's because it's not there at the grassroots level. It's not. I think if you looked at Southern California before Wayne, in '88, you still had 25 years of California hockey. Charles Finley still brought a team there in 1967.
White skates.
And you had to paint the skates white. In fact, there was 2 teams in Southern California that came in 1967 as part of the expansion. But then you needed Wayne to kind of move the needle. I bet you if you counted the number of ice rinks there, de facto to now in relation to what the population was in 67 versus 88 versus 2023, I think you would find that the game has grown in a market that took 2 generations. Bringing these guys to the World Cup hockey level, we're not there yet.
I just don't care for the World Cup. And I wasn't alive for the good World Cups. I saw 2016. Is that what it was? I saw that one. And all my other experiences with best on best hockey before that were Olympics because I was born in 96. I'm pretty lucky with that. I don't care for a World Cup. Let them go to the Olympics. It shouldn't be this tough.
Make no mistake. Anytime best on best, whether it is going to be the Olympics or it is going to be, there are a couple of things different. The World Cup of Hockey, they play under North American rules, which is much more fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because watching it under international rules...
Well, that's what was, again, with going back to the 96, it was like, Lindros, beating up Kasperitis.
Yeah.
Just dropping the mitts and filling them. And then that was just a penalty, and you went about your day.
What are the big differences between North American and European rules now, though? Because for the longest time, I was icing.
I think it's the style of play, certainly.
Yeah, bigger rink, I guess.
Rink size for sure. I think it's a tighter called game internationally.
Absolutely, I would think so. And you've got I think the European referee is, acclimatized to a different sort of game. So rough and tumble and that sort of thing, which America, Canada, Finland, they enjoy that style. Where some of the others, Russia, to a certain degree.
Konstantinov.
Ovechkin, he never shies away from that. He loves it, actually. He's into it.
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll keep our eye on that, but news sprinkling out this week. Let's go to the email train.
You've got mail.
Fellas, can I get your take on Mullet Arena? Thanks. Merv. I think Merv's a gimmick name. There's no way he's
going Merv is a stage name.
Yeah.
I like it, though.
Mullet Arena. So this is, for those of you who don't know, the Arizona Coyotes, they're going to play in a small rink. Is it the University of Arizona?
Yep.
Yes.
Or Arizona State University.
Yeah, Arizona State University. Yeah. And they've given over the naming rights to the family of philanthropists, and it's Mullet. So it's the Mullet Arena right now.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the worst, but it definitely is one where you're like... I think
it's the worst.
I mean, because it's named after a family.
Yeah.
I think it's better than, and we'll go over the list here in a second, but something like Crypto.com Arena.
Yeah.
Or Jobbing.com Arena. That was also Arizona. And that was the first time where I did a double take and went, what are we doing? There has to be some standard to which we are naming arenas.
Yeah, there's I know on the family side of it, I remember Dayton University football team. Theirs was called Welcome Stadium. Then it was named after their longtime director of athletics. His name was Percival Welcome. So I can kind of get behind that. Phoenix has a deep and rich history. They had a talking stick arena, which was the Phoenix Suns and the Phoenix Mercury WNBA. Talking stick. Oh my goodness.
That stinks.
Mullet Arena, I mean, just on the outset, it's not First Union Center. Remember that when Philadelphia had the FU Center?
Yeah.
Forget it. The best
That
name.
was originally what replaced the Spectrum, right?
Correct.
They went into First Union, and now it's who knows.
Now it's whatever, some bank, whatever. But that was so Philadelphia, talking about from severed heads and lacrosse sticks to the First Union Center.
Matty, give me a rundown of the worst stadium names.
So there's a lot of weird ones. I think I just hate that we have a Rogers Arena and a Rogers Place and
Terrible.
a Rogers Center.
That's so awful. Canada. Rough Riders. Honestly,
Yeah.
So Canada.
My
so
least
bad.
favorite, I think, in the NHL right now is the PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It sucks. I looked up a list. My favorite one, and I'm going to butcher it. It's the Dr. Y.S. Rajasekara Reddy ACA-VDCA Cricket Stadium.
In
Is that
India.
in Pakistan?
India, yeah.
Yeah. It pains me as a Red Wing fan. That was one of the last things I was holding on to, was the fact that it was Joe Louis Arena.
Yeah.
Mike Ilitch didn't change it to Little Caesars or whatever.
That's right. When
and
he
then
could
the
have.
second they had, I could understand you couldn't transfer the name Joe Louis over to the new arena. It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I was like, it was I think it was down to that and Madison Square Garden.
Sure.
The only two that weren't corporately bought.
Yeah.
Do you know where Louisville's basketball team played for 10 years?
The Bucket.
Nope. Yes.
Yes.
What was the name of it, though?
The KFC Yum.
The KFC Yum Center.
Oh, wow.
And it was Yum with an exclamation point.
Yep.
Get out of here.
Got to get that in there.
My favorite basketball team, the New Orleans Pelicans, played a Smoothie King Center.
Smoothie King. Again, terrible.
Let's see. What else do we got here? It's the new list. Whataburger Field in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Oh, my gosh.
Minute Maid Park. That made the list. I don't mind
I don't mind
I
that.
got used to that one because there was some tenure with that one. Remember, that was Enron Field
Yes.
when it first opened.
The smartest guys in the room.
Do you know where the WHL's Victoria Royals play?
I do not.
No.
The Save On Foods Memorial Center.
How do you have a Save on Foods and a memorial? What are you memorializing? I don't understand that.
I think it was the last term of council here in Peterborough that they actually kicked the tires on getting a sponsorship to the Memorial
to the
Center. And I thought it was not a bad idea because it would be an easy source of revenue. But I know current mayoral hopeful Henry Clark wasn't a big fan of it because he thought it was disrespectful and whatever. But
Sure.
I think it's more disrespectful throwing the sponsor name ahead of the memorial part of it. If you're going to do it, you got to just scrap the memorial part of it.
Yeah.
The Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland.
I don't
yeah.
mind it because of the field house. I feel like in some old whimsy sort of way that it saves it.
Guaranteed Rate Field.
Yeah, stupid.
Where's that one?
Unbelievable.
That's where the White Sox play.
Yeah, White
Okay.
Sox, yeah.
Used to be U.S. Cellular, Comiskey.
Comiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been some weird ones over there.
You know
I've been
what-
there.
Looking at
That's one of the
different lists.
stadiums I have been to a game at.
I've been in Guaranteed Rate Field too. Heather and I went. You know what I did like about Comiskey? Was Comiskey he commissioned the Golden World Series tickets.
Oh, yeah.
You ever heard this story?
No.
Yeah, so it used to be that Comiskey had the commissioner of the day. It was before, Kennesaw Mountain Lands was the first commissioner, but prior to that, when they didn't have a commissioner, he would commission a golden ticket for the World Series contender. And you sent it to it, and it was gold. It was a golden ticket.
It's like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Very much so, but it was kind of it was symbolic almost in nature that, you were mailed the golden ticket. And that was your key for your team. The team owner would be mailed the golden ticket, and that was kind of your buy-in.
I was going to say, did he do that for the
cool.
1919 Black Sox?
Oh, I don't think so.
My favorite one,
Through
the University of Phoenix Stadium.
Yeah.
That's the Arizona Cardinals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no physical University of Phoenix because it's an online
Right.
It's
college.
like Athabasca
Yeah.
University.
Yeah. Where's the Tony Macaroni? Where's that?
That made number 5 on this list.
Okay. Tony Macaroni in Scotland. I like it.
Just ahead of the Taco Bell Arena in Idaho and the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Rhode Island.
Ooh.
How does Idaho not have like a potato named I'm Idaho, like Ralph Wiggum? Like, how's that?
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we reached a certain era where they realized it's just easy money. Companies pay major bucks for these sort
But
of
what
rights.
kind of companies?
The Bojangles Coliseum in Charlotte.
Neil Diamond?
Where are the, like, how is it? Okay, and I'm not for this, trust me. But doesn't Walmart step in at some point and be like, okay, look, we'll have like,
You can afford the $5 million.
we're going to do the Walmart arena.
There's
We're going to
gotta
do
be a
the
Walmart
Target
arena
field. You know, like Target did it, I know. But like, where are these, where's the Capital PTBO rink? Where's
Well,
that?
Zellers is coming back. I mean, is that their first play to buy the Rogers Center?
Yeah. And just call it like the Zeddy.
Club Zed.
Yeah, Club Zed. Yeah. Why? Like, where we're missing the boat on this?
Yeah. Anyways, that was a great email from Merv.
Way to go, Merv.
Fake name. Or he
thank
just lives
you.
in the South End. I feel like there's definitely a Merv in the South End.
Oh, yeah. This comes from Zach. This is basically me and Mark shut off the microphones for a bit. Is Carey Price the best goalie of his era? News came out this week that it's unlikely that he is going to suit up again next season. This has to do with an ailing knee injury. But I got to tell you, Matt, Montreal makes it to the Stanley Cup final, and like no team I've ever seen, their players just could not go on. Like Shea Weber never comes back. Carey Price never comes back. Like, I know it's a grind to get there, dude, but I mean, I guess that old geezers, I suppose. But
So
is Carey Price the best of his generation? I've seen a lot of him versus Henrik Lundqvist.
Marc-Andre Fleury getting a lot of love.
Okay.
I mean, he's got the cups.
Yeah, he's got the cups. I'm not sure if he's in that. But it was actually staggering for me, the similarities between statistics between King Henrik and Carey Price, because I won't step on your opinion, but I always assume the peak of Carey Price was just a lot higher than Henrik Lundqvist. That's what I thought anyways.
I feel like Lundqvist was more consistent over his
Yeah.
career. And it's funny because they both went to a final. Both played in the same Eastern Conference final against one another, although Carey Price got hurt.
And that was his Hart Trophy year, right? Like he was
The next year, I think he won the Hart.
like
and
he's
everything.
almost at the peak of his powers when he gets hurt there. That sucked.
Yeah. I think Carey Price is. And like he'll never get a cup to show it, which is sad. But you look at what he did on some very lackluster Montreal teams, and he had some bad seasons, I'll admit. But I was reading one, I found the stat here. In his whole career, he played with one 80-point player.
That
That was Alex Kovalev in his rookie year.
Yeah.
That's
When he
actually
took over
insane.
for Cristobal Huet halfway through.
I can't even imagine that.
And he made technically 2 conference finals, but Halak brought them to the one. Couple second rounds, the conference final against New York we mentioned, the cup final on a team that wouldn't have made the playoffs any other year. I think he's the best of a generation. Obviously, the Hart Trophy, the Ted Lindsay's in there, Olympic gold.
To me, Mark, it's what do you value? Do you want the steady Eddie, consistent, good level, or are you willing to bank on a couple of iffy seasons for the higher peak?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the Montreal marketplace remembers Carey Price fondly.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know if he gets his jersey retired. That's in Montreal. They have so many retired now that they're very picky with it.
I think with Montreal though, you've got to stem the tide too on that cornerstone of you seeing the old guard has passed, like just most recently with Lafleur. That generation's finished.
Yep.
You know, there's very few guys. When Larry Robinson passes, it won't be to the same degree as what any of the Richards or Beliveau or Lafleur, or when Cornway passes and these guys are that's a different generation. Dryden,
the
they're
only
different.
one that'll be remotely close, I think, is Saku Koivu.
Oh, Wah.
Because Wah
Wah
but
for
that's
sure.
a different generation.
No, Wah's still part of that. Like, he only won once.
Yeah.
You know, they won one time. Well, he won twice,
two,
actually.
yeah.
The 86-93,
86,
yeah. He went 3 times. You know, he was a champ. Like I talk about again on a team full of 80-point players,
Well, and
70-point
culturally,
players.
I mean, he's a French Canadian, so
Yeah.
Very
I'm-
different.
But I'm talking the last 20 years. Like, Koivu's not going to have his number retired. If he was, it would have been done by now.
I think you're right.
Nor, no offense, nor should he.
No,
he was
he was the longest serving captain, but he was like an 80-point guy
he was
at
a
best.
good NHL hockey player, but he was not a
Yeah.
No.
legend. He's not going to make the Hall of
I
Fame.
think you're right. I think I'd be okay with if you're going to take one guy of this 2000s. I think Carey Price deserves to get 31 put up.
He's
sure.
the he
I
was,
think it's slam dunk.
he was the bright spot on a team that was really bad.
Well,
and we saw that when he was hurt.
I mean, Saku Koivu was never in a Hart Trophy consideration race, right?
No, right.
And to do it as a goalie is pretty impressive.
I mean, Jose Theodore won a Hart Trophy.
He did win a Hart Trophy.
I don't think he's getting his jersey retired.
No.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel bad for Carey Price. Like, we talk about the peak of his powers, which is, you can say 2013 to 15. You know who his first line center was?
No.
David Desharnais.
Yeah.
And his defense was a half-dead Andre Markov.
And
PK Subban, who
Hal
turned
Gill?
the puck over.
Hal Gill, yeah.
Hal Gill kicked one into his own net in Game 7 in overtime against the Bruins, and the Bruins went on to win the Cup.
You watch yourself on Hal Gill.
I like Hal, big guy. Did not know how to use his size.
Never could play in Toronto, and then he just went on to win Stanley Cups in Pittsburgh. Like, forget it.
Yeah. He was the definition of a big guy that just, like, he fought Charo once and just got clowned. Like, never knew what to do with his size.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I think Price, like, I saw someone saying he shouldn't be a Hall of Famer. That is absurd to me.
Oh.
Like, that's a sacrilegious
They have a weird
take.
criteria for goaltenders. They seem to hold them to a weird standard that they don't necessarily other players.
Yeah.
But that being said, Carey Price is absolutely, I mean, even the international resume as well, if you take that, which they do take that into consideration. But no, in my opinion, he's the best goalie of the last
Carey
15
Price
years.
international. Let me pull it up here. I had the numbers.
Well, the famous shootout against the U.S., who Canada wins that one.
Which, I mean, even as a Carey Price fan, I could say he wasn't great in that shootout. Jonathan Taves saved him.
He was not, like, he let in, they had a chance to win that about 4 times, and he let in the puck. But
so his record all time for Team Canada, senior and junior, he was 18-2. And his goals against for the senior team was .99. And the junior team was 1.7.
But he registers a shutout in the semifinal and the final to win the Olympic gold medal.
He had a 972 save percentage.
Like, 972 is video game.
Yeah.
And that's who did they beat in the final? Was it the U.S.?
Sweden.
Yeah. And then Russia in the semifinal?
Slovakia. Or no, Latvia.
No,
Wasn't it
Latvia. Yeah.
How did that happen?
Ted Nolan's
Ted Nolan got
squad.
them there.
Yep.
And it wasn't a runaway either.
No, that's right. It was like, that's right. I think there was 5-2 or something, but it was tight going into the third.
In his career with Team Canada, 4 different appearances, he allowed 5 goals.
That's crazy.
Just quickly on
That's
the
Mariano Rivera-esque.
On the Price narrative, though, if you're talking about, like, if he didn't have the personal accolades, because he does have a Vezina in there, he's got some Hart consideration, all this sort of thing.
Yep.
His international record is enough to get him into the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I also just blew that. He does not have 5 goals allowed. That's my bad. He has 28. He has 5 shutouts. I was reading the wrong column.
We'll just edit that later.
5 goals in 20 games.
I blew it.
Insane.
All right.
Terrible. Fact checker Brett Black flagged you right away.
Yeah,
right away.
He's in my ear. I can hear him.
All right, I want to do a segment. It's called the Docs Box. And you guys both perked up when I said that.
Yeah,
Not
we had
what
no
this
idea.
means.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of great documentaries the last couple
wow.
weeks. Because if you're in Canada, Disney Plus has started putting on all the ESPN 30 for 30s, which I've been trying to find for a long time.
We record them here when they come on in the store, like it's an event.
Yeah.
I check the guide for the whole week.
I actually have the first and second season on DVD when people used to buy DVDs.
Yes.
So I want to make a recommendation each week, and you tell me if I'm onto something or not. And if you're looking for a documentary to watch, I'm going to recommend an oldie but a goodie. It's been around for a few years, but I don't know if you've seen it. 42-1 is the name of the documentary.
Yes.
And it is the story of Buster Douglas going up against Mike Tyson.
Yes.
And I think it runs about 54 minutes in runtime, but it is well worth it because I think, not that that's a forgotten thing, but I think the magnitude of the upset, and I think UFC, stay with me here, is partially to blame for this because in UFC, these ones that are, I mean, the top guys lose. They just do. That's the nature of that sport.
So Kamaru Usman last week.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, hey, this guy can't be beat. Oh, wait, yeah, he is. I mean, we saw it, most ceremoniously probably with Ronda Rousey, where she was the most unstoppable thing in the world until she wasn't.
But you saw it with Mike Tyson,
boom.
too. Like,
well, this is
that
it.
aura of invincibility is
Well,
gone.
here's the thing. So in boxing, you had this, he wins the belt. You have this sort of 8-year history with a guy who is the youngest heavyweight champion of all time.
Yeah.
And just
the meanest man in America.
Meanest man. He looked like a guy you wouldn't want to mess with.
No. He's
and
still a guy you don't want to mess with.
He's beating people in the first round of these matches.
And like he's beating like bona fide men. Like
Trevor Burbick
is an embarrassing. That's an embarrassment to watch
for a guy who beat Muhammad Ali.
Beat Muhammad Ali. This guy's like 6'5", 240, and Mike comes into the ring at 215 and 5'10 from Catskills, New York, and absolutely lets Burbick have it.
He also made a joke of Larry Holmes, who's one of the great heavyweights of all time. Sphinx, of course, that was one
Sphinx.
too.
Oh.
So you've got this build-up, and then you've got this fight that, by all accounts, most people thought it was a bit of a placeholder fight. Buster Douglas, like barely in the top 10. 42-1. It still remains the greatest upset in boxing history.
Yeah.
And there were only a handful of sports books that were actually taking action on it.
Correct.
And the one guy that they chat with in the documentary said he actually had a couple of high rollers in Vegas put about $200,000 on Mike Tyson to win like $10,000. Like there was just no value. And then Buster Douglas comes up. And it wasn't, contrary to the UFC fight that you just mentioned, it wasn't like when they sort of cataloged the fight, oh, Mike's dominating and he gets like a lucky punch and that's it.
Yeah.
Like Buster's laying it on Mike.
Yeah.
He was clearly disinterested.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought it's a great documentary. Go back and watch it.
The hard part, and I mean, when that happened, what's that, 1988?
1990.
90.
February.
So I'm 10 years old. It takes place in Japan. Tokyo.
And it's there because they didn't believe they could sell it in North America because people are like, well, he's a tomato can. I'm not going to watch.
Right. So nobody from North America watched. It was like 3 a.m. Eastern time when the fight goes live. And then it's, I mean, the sad part for Douglas, obviously, is that it never endures.
He loses the next fight.
He loses the next fight,
Holyfield,
and it is a terrific bit, though.
It's always good to go back and just remind yourself of the Mike Tyson phenomenon in the early days of pay-per-view and just must see television.
And that's obviously that's the beginning of the end for Mike too, right?
Never quite
the same. No.
After that.
Well, he rattles off 8 straight wins after, and then loses back-to-back to Holyfield.
That was the problem.
Does time in prison.
He does, and then right.
And then he goes win, no contest, win, no contest, win, loss, the rest of the way.
He's never really. Yeah, this broke the cloud of invincibility.
Yeah.
For sure. And then he ended up with, actually, when you look at his overall resume, it's not. Like, he's remembered far differently than a fighter who's like 40-6 or whatever he is.
For sure.
He's 50-6.
Yeah.
Two no contest.
Compared to the greatest heavyweights, that's not a great record, right?
No.
Like Joe Louis, I think, was 51-3. So,
right.
Anyways, the documentary, ESPN 30 for 30, Disney Plus, if you're in Canada, 42-1. Go and watch that. That's the Docs Box. Do you like that?
Yeah.
Is that a segment that's going to stay?
That's a winner.
We get to talk about stuff?
We'll come up with some kind of intro for it.
Yeah,
here to stay.
More than 15 members of the 1992 World Series team for the Toronto Blue Jays expected to be in attendance this weekend. And I think my favorite footnote is the team is actually giving away a retro jacket.
Yeah.
As part of the celebration to the first 15,000 fans.
Come on.
This jacket is beautiful.
The bomber.
It's the bomber. Jacket. Yeah. I can get behind this.
What do you remember most about the 1992 team?
So for me, it was kind of that there was no big plan of assimilation at the quote unquote trade deadline to beef up. This was a team that had their heart broken years and years before, right back to 85.
Yep.
And they were chronically there in the late 80s, early 90s, ALCS. But when Alomar hits it off, give me a break. When he
still getting the goosebumps.
When he hits it off Eckersley, forget it. An afternoon game in Oakland, and they bring in Eck, and the guy was automatic, and Robbie hits it off. That's the biggest moment. Tim Linder-Carter seals it, on the Nixon bunt.
Sprague, big home run.
Ed Sprague was an animal. He was terrific. Pat Borders was terrific. But that was the coming of age for Ed Sprague, who was 20 years old.
Jeff Reardon, I think. He didn't have a good series.
Correct. And right. And on the other side of that coin, with the Braves, there was some of this wasn't the Maddox, Glavin, Avery, Smoltz, Four Horsemen. A couple of those guys were there.
Yeah.
Smoltz
and Glavin. Yeah.
Right. But this wasn't, they hadn't had their coming of age yet. But they had a terrific team. Neon Dion, the triple play.
Yeah.
That Gruber gets. I remember I got the TV guide. I used to get the TV guide, and I remember there was a picture of Gruber, of the webbing of Gruber's glove that's standing on, I think it was Terry Pendleton.
Yeah.
But Pendleton.
MVP.
Right. Pendleton.
Terry Pendleton.
But Pendleton had already been passing the base pass. It should have been 3 outs anyways. So
People were confused.
those were the big highlights for me from 92. But you go through and look at their lineup. They don't have all the guys they bought, not for the, like they did for the next year.
No, the 93 team is going to be more sexy, but in terms of, I've always believed the 92 team was like a better team.
Yes.
That's the way I say it. They won more games in the regular season.
Yeah.
I think they beat tougher opponents to win.
I would
because
agree.
You've got Oakland, who had won 3 straight AL pennants, 89, or 88, 89, 90, and then they're back again in 92. They have an MVP in Eckersley.
Yeah.
They still have the bones of those title teams. And then you go on and play the Braves, who were coming off a World Series appearance the year before, and a team that was going to become the team of the 90s.
That's right.
Or claimed to be. I think the Yankees were probably the team of the 90s. But
Yep.
they were, had the bones of that. Versus the 93 team, who beat some pretty good teams, but kind of one-offs, right? The White Sox and the Phillies.
Yeah.
Just one-offs.
At 93, you added Winfield and you added Cone and you added, oh my gosh. Anyways, we'll edit that for later.
92 team with Winfield and Cone.
Yeah, right. So in 93, but
Yeah.
you go ahead and you add guys at the
Molitor.
deadline. Paul Molitor.
Ricky Henderson.
Ricky Henderson.
Dave Stewart.
Right.
Right.
I always find these things funny. Do you think they ever exclude guys? Like, you're bringing back the band for the 92 World Series. You think it's like, hey, Rob Ducey. No, sorry, Rob. We don't have tickets for you, man.
Well, I don't think we need to get into it, but Robbie Alomar is not going to be around.
Oh.
I mean, they pretty much wrote his name out of the history book a
Wow.
couple years ago.
I know. I'll still remember
Is
Robbie.
Kelly Gruber coming back?
Well, Gruber, not on Pitch Talks. Anyways.
Stottlemyre, Dave Stieb. Dave Stieb, I forgot. Like, I guess he was on that team, but he was kind of at the end of his run, right?
He was, yeah. That was the original Jays animal. He was. That guy was the best.
Jimmy Key.
Jimmy Key was beautiful, too.
I've always thought Jimmy Key extremely underrated. Not just with Toronto, but he had some good years in New York,
Did
too.
Key in 92 come out of the bullpen?
They started, Cito went with a flyer and started Key in game 4, I believe. I'd have to look that up on the box score. Yeah. But it came out of nowhere. Like, it was the one time that Cito was going to use him, and it turned out to be pretty pivotal. And it gave them the 3-1 series lead. So he played a big role in that one. Anyways, it's a lot of fun to go back and look at that series. Are you ready for the mano-a-mano showdown? We've got about 10 minutes left.
Do it.
Matt Latour. I feel like we've been ganging up on Matty a little bit lately.
Okay.
Back-to-back baseball?
Back-to-back baseball.
Football,
You got some football in there. So, Mark, how do you feel about mano-a-mano on WWE Intercontinental Champions?
Let's go.
Intercontinental.
Not even the heavyweight belt.
Not even heavyweight belts.
Go.
I'll be able to get a few here.
Now, what are the criteria here?
What do you mean?
Just had
There's
to
no
win the
qualifiers
belt.
That have won the belt ever?
that have won the Intercontinental belt. There's no qualifiers here, Latour. Like, because I
everything
know
else we've done is like 50 home run hitters.
I know,
didn't if
but
it's
just
5
straight
title
Okay,
champs
can
or-
I have a question though,
Yeah.
quick. Like, is the have they changed something in the last 20 years? Like, is there still only
around.
Yeah, the belt means absolutely nothing now, and everyone gets it.
Okay, but everybody used to get it in the 80s too, but they don't have like a second one because there's one for Raw and there's one for
They
SmackDown.
have the U.S. Championship for Raw.
Okay,
the
do those
Intercontinental
count?
for
Like,
SmackDown.
or no?
The U.S. title doesn't count.
No.
as an answer.
Okay.
Has to be pure Intercontinental.
Oh my goodness.
All right, and you had to have it once. So I think there's been like
200.
600 reigns, but 89 people. So we're only
Okay.
focusing on 89
Okay.
people.
Mark,
Oh
you can go
my
first.
god. Okay.
I thought you'd like this one.
Okay, Greg Valentine.
Greg the Hammer Valentine, yes.
Current champion Gunther.
Yes.
Oh, like just the name Gunther means I'm out of it. Okay, Tito Santana.
Yes, 2 different reigns.
Former champion Shinsuke Nakamura.
Okay. Yep.
Oh my god. Hulk Hogan.
The workers' belt, dude. Come on.
Get out of
No
here.
Hulk Hogan for this one, unless he. No Hulk
I don't
Hogan on
think-
this one.
No.
No.
They had the
Oh,
champ-
now I'm gonna play this under protest. Then, if you're
No.
not sure,
No, they had the champ versus champ match, but he lost.
that's Intercontinental.
Title for title.
All right, fine.
Apollo Crews.
Okay.
Randy Savage.
Yes.
I know Randy.
One of
did.
the great reigns.
Big E.
Yes. He hasn't even scratched the surface right now.
I know.
I'm not even a year back yet.
Ultimate Warrior.
Yes.
Sami
Absolutely.
Zayn.
Yes.
Mr. Perfect.
Yes.
Randy Orton.
For sure.
Razor Ramon.
Yeah, 4 different reigns for Razor.
Come on.
Yeah, Razor had it a
Guy.
lot. Edge.
Chico.
Edge for sure.
Triple H.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a new guy for
He
you.
had an underrated run.
Beat
there.
The Rock in a ladder match at
Yep.
SummerSlam 98, Highway to Hell.
Okay.
Shelton Benjamin.
Yes.
Well, what's his first name? Patterson?
Pat Patterson.
Pat Patterson.
One of the
first-
all
I feel like-
great Canadians, yeah.
The
Yeah.
very first.
Was he?
He won it in a tournament in Rio de Janeiro.
Terrific.
Chris Jericho.
Yeah, the most reigns ever, 9.
9, yeah.
Oof. Rick Rude.
Ravishing Rick Rude, absolutely.
Yes.
John
One of my
Morrison.
favorites. Yes, Johnny Morrison's on there.
Roddy Piper.
Yes,
Oh, that's a good one.
that is a snipe.
Santino Marella. I know he won it. You can
Yes.
just say yes.
Yes. On here.
Rocky Maivia.
Yes. Or The Rock, 2 different reigns, yes.
Oh, I would've
one
used
as
both.
Maivia and one as The Rock. Yep.
I should get both those.
No. Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
Owen Hart.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
I like that Mark's just naming every wrestler he knows,
I'm
and they
just-
just all happen to have held.
Well,
the
now I'm all
Intercontinental
snake bitten on
Championship.
Hogan. Like, I can't take a superstar. Now I got to take a jobber. Like, the guy on the back
worker.
end of it. A worker,
Yeah.
yeah.
A mechanic, if you will.
Yeah.
It's bad that I'm starting to forget now.
Uh-oh.
I know. He's got 1 strike.
Give me a strike, Latour. Get into it.
No. That's enough. AJ Styles.
Is he going to be on here? Is he going to be on here? Yes. 1 reign.
Ken Patera.
Yes. The original Olympic.
I was going to, yeah,
wrestler,
that's
like
right.
Kurt
He was,
Angle.
yeah.
Curtis Axel.
Yes.
Don Morocco.
Yes. Ooh. 3rd most amount of days as
For
Intercontinental
For
Champion.
reference, Curtis Axel is Mr. Perfect's son.
Oh, wow.
Has anyone said Mr. Perfect?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Kurt Hennig.
There's like a period in my brain that I'm just blanking on. I think this might be a strike. Rey Mysterio?
Not seeing Ray on here.
Yeah. He's a weird one.
I am not seeing Ray. Oh, yeah, 2 reigns.
Oh.
Never mind, sorry.
Oh, that's so
Apologies. Yeah, he's got 2. Well, there's a lot of names to keep track
Sure.
of.
Look at Ricky Steamboat.
Ricky the Dragon
Dragon.
Steamboat, absolutely.
mean. Yeah. That's a great one.
Boys, we're down
okay.
to 4 minutes here. We
I
gotta
know.
get rolling. You got 2 seconds to come up with a name.
Oh my
Buzzing
gosh.
you.
Ted DiBiase. Junior.
Oh,
Oh, wait, a caveat?
hold on a minute.
I'm not
No.
naming anyone from the 80s. What are you talking about?
No.
I don't see him on here though.
No, he might not have won
Okay,
it.
no,
That's 2 strikes because the kid went DiBiase
No.
and then it was
No.
and then it
that
was
might be 2
Junior.
No, it's not.
All right,
How about Double J Jeff Jarrett?
definitely.
Yes.
6 reigns.
Jeff Jarrett's a good one.
6
J E
reigns.
double F J A double R E double T.
That's right.
This might be like upset of the century.
Can you, like, when we're done here, can you explain to me how a guy wins 6 Intercontinentals? Like, I don't understand how he doesn't win a heavyweight.
Never moves up the ladder.
Yeah,
Oh my
Some
god.
guys just don't. Intercontinental. Ooh, I don't know if he won it. Chris Benoit.
Definitely 4 times.
Oh, I
Yeah.
had Benoit on my list too. I don't have very many guys on my list. Bret Hart?
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on,
Brett's an all-time great champ.
Bret. Okay.
We might have to do the old school Raw to be continued.
Did you say Ultimate Warrior?
Yes.
No, I was asking if he already said it.
Oh, he did. Should we rule? Okay, go on.
Wait, so what do we have? We each have 1 strike?
Yeah.
You each have 1 strike. Yes, he did say Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah. Okay. Man. Oh, this isn't good. was going to throw a name at the dartboard here from like 2012. Kane. Probably not.
Yeah, two.
Did he have two?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was a lucky one.
Ken Shamrock.
Yes.
Ken Shamrock won it?
Yo, for sure.
Oh, but who didn't win this championship?
That's what I'm wondering.
This is a long one.
Kurt Angle? Don't tell me Kurt Angle never won it.
I don't see Kurt on this list.
Oh, come on.
Oh, yeah, one. Never mind. Brief, though.
Diesel?
Yes.
Diesel won it?
What was his real name? Kevin
Nash.
Kevin Nash,
right?
big dude.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Shane McMahon?
No.
Oh, that hurts.
For the steal, Marty Jannetty?
Yes.
That's a good one.
Won it from Michaels.
Shawn Michaels?
Yeah.
So that was the easy one. I couldn't have taken the anybody say The Undertaker?
Probably because never won it.
Oh.
Rob Van Dam?
Yes.
Oh. I might be out of names.
How much time do we have here?
Not much.
I might have to cut a little towards the middle.
How about Edge?
I already said him.
Oh. How about Jake Roberts?
Jake the Snake? No. Give me Christian for the win from deep.
I don't see Christian on here.
He's definitely held
Has
that.
he? Am I just missing him on here?
I'm going to look him up right now.
Yes, 4 reigns.
Yeah.
That's it.
There we
Wow.
go. That was a lot closer than I wanted it to be.
You guys, come on.
Hogan out of the gate at 3. Give me a break.
That's
Gold Dust, he was a fixture.
William Regal.
Yeah.
Gold Dust.
How about the Honky Tonk Man, the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time? The Miz match? Surprised you didn't get him.
Oh, yeah. Miz won it a bunch.
Pedro Morales, Kofi Kingston, Dean Ambrose.
There's someone here.
Are these all old dudes or new dudes?
Newer dudes. How did I not name
How
some
about we
of
get
these?
to the back end of the Attitude Era? Billy Gunn, Rikishi, Road Dogg Test, The Mountie, Dean Douglas.
Oh, nobody said Test. Rest in
No
peace.
one said Test. No one
Billy
said
Gunn.
Ennis Morzone, Val Venus.
Oh, Val Venus.
Did Eddie ever have it?
reigns.
Eddie Guerrero got it, yeah.
The Godfather, Daniel Bryan,
China.
Booker T, China,
D'Lo
Really?
Brown.
Marvelous Mark Marrow,
Val Venus.
Albert, John Bradshaw Layfield. Matt, or Mark, you can say, that's enough wrestling.
Yeah. Can we get that in a
Say it right now. Give me a clean take before we stop.
that's enough wrestling?
There we go.
Gentlemen, this has been a lot of fun. This has been the Capital PTBO Sports Show, an MNC podcast production coming to you from the Capital PTBO at 370 George Street. Also simulcast on TV, on your TV at Peterborough Lindsay. Support the show anytime by logging on to patreon.com/thecapitalptbo. For Mark Million and producer Matt Latour, I'm Jordan Mercier.